Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to go through them. Actually, I went through them, but I'm about to show you what I found. Before I do that, let me give a quick shout out to one of my new subscribers, Silver Surfer. Silver Surfer's been putting a lot of comments out there and watching all my stuff. Great chatting with you, great talking with you. Thank you for supporting the channel. I appreciate that. I've been watching some of your stuff as well. Good stuff, so if you haven't checked him out yet, look up Silver Surfer. He's very good with coins, and he's got an impressive collection of paper money as well. All right, before I go into what I found this week, let's check out this week's tip. And this week's tip is actually quite simple. It's stuff that I've shown, but never really talked about. It's this book right here, Paper Money of the United States, Complete Illustrated Guide with Variations. This is what I use, and you always see me going to it, but you never hear me talking about this book. Arthur L. and Ira S. Friedberg. When people start talking about paper money, they talk about the numbers that the Friedbergs have instituted for each bill, and that way everybody knows exactly what bill they are talking about. Let me just show you here. For those of you who remember books, old school, look, there's the ISBN number. If you were looking to try to find this book, that's what you'd look for. And this particular book right here is the 21st edition. I'm not sure what edition they're on now, but this is the book that I use, and it's pretty impressive. It's full color, as you can see on the back here. So many of these bills, and I've got this one here. This is next on my list, thinking about getting one of these. But yeah, it is just so full of information. Print runs, pictures of the bills, showing different errors and stuff. And every bill in this section has that little number there. The number on the right-hand side, that is the Friedberg number, so that every single person on the planet knows specifically what bill you are talking about. Every one. So here's a bunch more here. Every single one. Now, this book covers not only paper money, but it covers fractional currency. You can see on the bottom there, large size notes, fractional currency, small size notes, encased postage stamps, colonial and continental currency, Confederate States notes, error notes, and postage envelopes. So this covers basically anything that has to do with paper and the United States and value. So it is a really useful tip, really useful tool. Oh, what do you know? There's the Lazy Deuce right there. But yeah, and then each section about each bill gives you tons and tons of information. National bank notes here, and the whole book, if I show you on the top, it's all color coordinated, so it makes looking up stuff extremely easy. So that's my hint for this week. If you haven't picked up a book like this and you're interested in paper money, do so. This is the book that I highly recommend. Paper Money of the United States by the Friedbergs, Arthur and Ira, based on the original work by Robert Friedberg. So yes, get a hold of this book. This will save you all kinds of time, give you all kinds of ideas, show you what you're missing out in your collection, and maybe you'll get one of these eventually too. All right, let's take a look at what I found this week. Grab this stuff over here. Interesting finds this week. Normally, I get all excited if I find a Where's George bill. I didn't find a Where's George bill this time. I found this Where's George bill stamped from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Check out this Where's George. This looks like somebody actually put this through a printer. Check out how they stamped that American Eagle on there. Currency tracking study. This is a registered bill. Track this bill at Where's George. Update this bill's location at where'sgeorge.com. They went all out on this Where's George bill, so I will definitely log that one. Found a different type of Where's George. Another lucky bill here. Please enter this bill at Where's George. And of course, I found one of the standard ones from a local around here that I run into a lot. So yeah, to find that many Where's George bills, 1, 2, 3, 4 Where's George bills in one bundle, that was pretty impressive. I did find some trinaries. This one's 0s, 6s, and 8s. This one is 3s, 5s, and 8s. 0s, 1s, and 4s on this bill. And this one is 5s, 7s, and 8s. Not in the greatest of shape. This one's a trinary and also quads, 0s, 2s, and 7s. And it does have the 4 zeros on there. Some people would also call this a birthday note or an anniversary note, which would be either July 2nd, 2000 or February 7th, 2000, or 0207 2000 or 0702 2000. So, yeah, all kinds of reasons to like that one. Next bill is quad ones. Quad threes on this one, pretty rough shape. Quad fours. And some stars. This one's from 2006. Not in the greatest of shape, but it is an older star note. You don't see a lot of older ones. 2013 star note here. Another star here. Quite a bit of wear on that one. Not too bad on this one. And then we get to the older bills. Undog ear that leaf there. All right, 1999. Fairly crisp. This one's a little rough for a 99. A little bit of a tear. Probably going to go back in circulation. This 99 is fairly limp. Almost tore in half. Probably going away. 1988A. Severely creased. But it's interesting because it's one of those Y notes. They don't get to Y very often in paper money. Every single time they go through 100 million notes, they change the letter. So to get to Y, you're talking 2.4 billion notes printed in that particular series. It is an 88A, so I did check to make sure it's not a web note. And then the oldest note I found, this one is actually from 1985. Usually I don't see too many 85s. A lot of times when you see 85s, most people overlook them as 95s. But this one I double checked, and it is definitely an 85. Not in the greatest of shape. It's pretty ratty, but I don't have a whole lot of 85s. So I'll see if this fills a hole in my binder. If it does, great. If it doesn't, I'll release it back into the wild, so to speak. All right, so what did I bring out this week? Well, maybe it's a conspiracy theory. Maybe it's a conspiracy theory theorist's keynote. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. However, I do enjoy reading the conspiracy theories. They're just always amusing to me. So what is it that I brought out? Well, let me show you. I've got a 1914 $5 Federal Reserve note. 1914 $5 Federal Reserve. This is one of the large size bills. Let me just grab one of these over here and give you the close-up just so you can see how big these bills used to be. 1928 is when we switched over to the small size notes, but you guys know that. This one here being a 1914, says it right there. Series of 1914, if we read the authorization, authorized by Federal Reserve Act of December 23rd, 1913. This $5 bill, you can see on the top, Federal Reserve note, the United States of America will pay to the bearer on demand $5. This is one of the interesting notes in our country's history. When they first issued this particular bill, they issued this bill with a red seal. A red seal would indicate it to be a legal tender bill. Legal tender bills are usually backed by bonds or some form of backing that way. But this wasn't the legal tender bill. This is a Federal Reserve note. And before I tell more of the story, let's flip this one over, take a look at the back. Pretty interesting stuff back there. I believe it's Columbus landing at Plymouth Rock, if I remember right. But anyway, the Federal Reserve note of 1914. This is the first time that the Federal Reserve put out notes. The original ones, like I said, had red seals. There weren't very many of those. Those are highly desirable notes. The blue seal is what are the more common notes. But the blue seal and the blue ink on the serial numbers generally mean that this would be a silver certificate. But this is not a silver certificate. This is a Federal Reserve note. So what's the difference? The difference is that, well, a legal tender note was backed by bonds. A silver certificate or a gold certificate was backed by precious metal. But the Federal Reserve note was backed by the federal government, period, end of story. So a lot of conspiracy theorists would say this was the beginning of the end. This was the beginning of the federal government printing money without anything at all to back it. And maybe it's true, maybe it's not. But to this day, all of our banknotes are Federal Reserve notes that aren't backed by anything other than the statement from the US government that it is worth something. So if you're a conspiracy theorist, here's your starting point. Here's your jumping off point. If you're a conspiracy theorist and think your money is worthless, send it to me. I will be more than happy to take it. So, like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just find the conspiracies interesting. Now, let's look into this particular note just a little bit. Like I said, this one is from 1914, and if I bust out the book, we will see that there is the red seal version. I have the blue seal version. And if I take a peek up in here, it starts to talk about the different locations and the different printings that it could be. So you can see there's 3 different ones, A, B, C. This particular one is a B, large letter and numeral at the top right with the small district letters and numerals in the other 3 corners of that note. And what they're talking about here is there is the large 10J and a large 10J right there. And then there is the small 10J and the small 10J there. That's what they're referring to as far as the different ones. So that makes this one a B in the series. And if I was to look at that, let's see, mine is Kansas City. Yep, Kansas City. So and let's also double check, that's white and melon. So Kansas City, B, white and melon, starts at $150 right there, and quickly escalates. 150, 225, 375, 1,000, and then 2,500. So not a bad note to have after all. Not a bad note at all. So conspiracy theories be damned. I like what I see here, and I don't mind having this particular note. All right, everyone, that's what I've got for you this week. If you learned something new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. Thanks again for watching, and thanks for all your comments. I appreciate them, guys. I'll see you next week.